beer, it's good for you.
Hello and welcome to the video. In this short video I'll be giving advice about bottling Kveik fermented beers. It's fair to say that I get many questions about this and bottling methods in general, so in this guide I will walk through my process from start to finish. Before I go through this process, it is important to understand that I make sure that any bottle that is used is washed under the tap and then shaken to remove the yeast at the bottom before I add it into storage. Firstly, I add a double amount of cleaner to a bucket and fill it to about halfway with as hot water as I can get from my hot tap. Then with cooler water I fill each bottle. The bottles are then added to the bottom of the bucket, and because they are full they will sink straight away. Nice, easy, no messing around method. Once all the bottles are all in the bucket, then I go about soaking anything else that will be used in the process. Because these items tend to be more fragile, like bottle fillers and silicone hosing, they will only be in the solution for less than 20 minutes. Any items like this bottle filler will need to be turned over for full coverage. I leave the bottles to soak in the cleaner for about half an hour, and I then remove them, empty them out, and then go through the same process but with just plain water. Some homebrewers will just give them a quick rinse, but I do like to be very sure that they are now chemical free. This part of the process with water can be considered over quicker, with just a 10 to 15 minute soak being all that is needed. I then add a sanitizer to a bottle rinser along with any bottle caps that are needed. I give each bottle 3 pumps of sanitizer. When using flip-top bottles, I dunk the cap first for a few seconds and then give the bottle 3 pumps. The cap is then closed. I use the fast rack system for the standard bottles to allow them to drain and to provide a good way of storing these in a clean and sanitary state prior to use, which will always be quite soon after sanitization. These are now ready for the next stage where the beer is filled and capped, but there is a step that needs to be added first for Kveik. It needs to be understood that not all yeast is suitable for bottle carbonation after it has been used for fermentation. Some regular commercial yeast has traits that mean you should be adding another yeast for bottle carbonation. Philly Sour is a good recent example of this. One of the many known traits of Kveik is that it flocculates very strongly, or in plain speaking English, Kveik drops down after its work is done, and it does this like an anvil being dropped from a height. It is fair to say that some types of Kveik are stronger in doing this than others, but when this occurs in a bottle, then you will end up with yeast that is literally stuck at the bottom of the bottle, and you will simply have either a very small amount of carbonation or simply none. When I first started using Kveik myself, I did not know anything about this, and for some time I actually had no issues at all, and then all of a sudden I was getting more and more cases where carbonation was either lacking or non-existent. One of the Norwegian masters of Kveik, Lars Garsol, brings this up on his website Lars blog and suggests adding another type of yeast for carbonation to combat this strong flocculation problem. Another Kveik trait is that in general it has become used to some pretty high temperatures, and it ferments much slower at ambient temperature. It is fair to say that in many cases when it comes to bottle carbonation at ambient temperatures, you will generally see a slower carbonation to what you are used to with regular yeast. So what type of yeast should you use? This is a very quick and easy thing to address. Just be sure that the yeast you add for carbonation is capable of handling the alcohol strength of your end beer, and all will be just fine. This has been my regular route and I have had no issues. However, there is also yeast that is specific for this process, like CBC1, which is very fast and highly alcohol tolerant as well as being very neutral, so you might want to give this a try. The process for adding this yeast is very easy. I simply add a very small amount to each bottle as shown here, just before filling the bottle and capping it. It is always nice when the solutions are simple. If you have not already joined this YouTube channel's Facebook group, then feel free to apply to join the community using the link shown on screen. This community is friendly and helpful by design, and there are strict rules in place to ensure this continues. People of all experience levels are very welcome. This now brings this video to a close. If you have any questions, then please let me know via YouTube or Facebook. I do hope that you found this video to be useful, interesting and enjoyable. If appropriate, then please like this video on YouTube, and if you've not done so already, then please subscribe. I regularly post new content. Happy brewing!